The Real Jane Austen, A Life in Small Things by Paula Byrne, read by Louise Hulland. The room was most dear to her, and she could not have changed its furniture for the handsomest in the house, though what had been originally plain had suffered all the ill usage of children, and its greatest elegancies and ornaments were a faded footstool of Julia's work, too ill done for the drawing-room, 3 transparencies made in a rage for transparencies for the 3 lower panes of one window, where Tintern Abbey held its station between a cave in Italy and a moonlight lake in Cumberland. A collection of family profiles, thought unworthy of being anywhere else, over the mantelpiece, and by their side and pinned against the wall, a small sketch of a ship sent 4 years ago from the Mediterranean by William, with HMS Antwerp at the bottom, in letters as tall as the main mast. Mansfield Park, Volume 1, Chapter 16. She seized the scrap of paper, locked it up with the chain as the dearest part of the gift. It was the only thing approaching to a letter which she had ever received from him. She might never receive another. It was impossible that she ever should receive another so perfectly gratifying in the occasion and the style. 2 lines more prized had never fallen from the pen of the most distinguished author, never more completely blessed the researches of the fondest biographer. The enthusiasm of a woman's love is even beyond the biographer's. Mansfield Park, Volume 2, Chapter 9. Prologue, Captain Harville's Carpentry. There is a watercolour of Lyme Regis on the southern coast of England. The cottages nestle on the hillside. An old stone breakwater leads down to the shoreline. A man and a woman are walking on the beach, and a solitary figure is looking out to sea. A rowing boat is on its way out to a ship at anchor in the bay. The eye is drawn to an expansive view of sloping cliffs and open sky. Jane Austen loved the sea. The story goes that when her father announced in December 1800 that he was leaving his position as a rector of the parish of Steventon and retiring to Bath, she was so shocked that she fainted. She reconciled herself to the move only when the family promised to take a holiday by the seaside every summer. In 1801 and 1802, they went to Sidmouth and Teignmouth in Devon. In 1803 and 1804, it was the turn of Lyme Regis. The young people were all wild to see Lyme. When they arrived in Chapter 11 of Persuasion, Jane Austen describes the little seaside resort in the style of a tour guide. The pleasant bay, the newfangled bathing machines, the famous Cobb, the beautiful line of cliffs stretching out to the east of the town, the charms of the immediate environs, the high sweep of the countryside around Charmouth, the woody varieties of the cheerful village of Up Lyme, and above all Pinny, with its green chasms between romantic rocks. A scene so wonderful and so lovely is exhibited as may more than equal any of the resembling scenes of the far-famed Isle of Wight. These places must be visited and visited again to make the worth of Lyme understood, Jane Austen tells her readers. She had visited Lyme at least twice, on one occasion witnessing a fire that destroyed a number of houses. When she describes the place in her novel, she's visiting it yet again, this time in her imagination. Her description is the literary equivalent of the engravings of popular tourist sites that were readily obtainable in the burgeoning print market of the age, the Regency version of the picture postcard. Jane Austen cared a great deal about accuracy. She wanted her novels to be true to life. When reading a draft of a novel by her niece Anna, she pointed out that it was an error to portray people in Dawlish gossiping about news from Lyme. Lyme will not do. Lyme is towards 40 miles distance from Dawlish and would not be talked of there. Her novels were grounded in the real world. In order to create them, she drew upon the reality that she knew, the people, the places, the events. The celebrated fictional scene in which Louisa Musgrove nearly dies when being jumped off the narrow steps of the Cobb is not based on a real incident, but it could not have been written if Jane Austen had not visited the real Lyme and memorised its topography. The picturesque description of the romantic rocks of Lyme is not, however, her most common style.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?